Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. So, the market just loves people getting out of work, sitting at home, wondering how they're going to pay their bills, thinking about can they afford eggs? A jobs report talking about, and the initial positive reaction. We'll see how far it goes today. But so the expectation the market would go up. I was curious to see what did the 13-week Treasury bill do. And initially it was down here. It's popping back up again because the whole idea behind this is what the Fed has been doing, raising interest rates. Is it having an effect? And that leads to, well, maybe they won't raise interest rates anymore. And of course, no one thinks it's going to happen this year, but when will they lower interest rates? Well, they're not even close. They're closer, but not close to 2% target. But it's a number that the markets wanted to see today. And there'll be more numbers, of course, and markets been very fickle. One day of the week, it's we go up, next day of the week, oh my God, here we go down. And so we shall see where this all ends and into next week when we come back. But initially it was down here and we had a wide range bar down. As it came down to this pivot low, well, look to the left and it sprung right back up again. So initially we do have a breakout failure where interest rates were going up. Remember last week, whatever the numbers were, or maybe it was early this week, I don't remember. There was more of a consensus that, they're going to have to do it again. And now that breakout has failed. And we'll see where it ends the day. But initially it broke out above a consolidation and it came back down again. So an initial positive. It's we've seen things pull back before and then it go back up. So we're not going to get too enthusiastic about this, but initially in the short term, this is what the markets want. And that's what they're reacting to. They're embracing that. The 10-year is stabilizing. So it's not like that's dropping. The 20 is up. The 50 is rising. It's in an uptrend. It's pulled back far enough to where buyers are going to start to step in. And the bottoming tail bar there was the initial dip and back up again. So maybe not as rosy as initially thought. Markets, you can see a green here, but it's not like they're ripping higher. The 30-year, actually, look at that. Right back up and now back above its open. So some mixed messages here about this initial reaction. Let's look at these futures and then we'll get to, I'll have to re-look at SPX here to see if the numbers changed. It doesn't look like it. Okay. So not a big deal. Right? Looking at the S&Ps here, was coming up into this pivot high. And there was the reaction to the news. Yesterday was down. It certainly looked when we had earnings coming out, and of course the news this morning. But with that red bar in the area of this pivot high, it looked like it could be down today. Now, of course, it's always interesting to see where a day is going to end. Let's look at the hourly chart here right now. So there's a little trading range here at the end of the day yesterday, the way it sold off. Where's the end of the day here? Look at this. It was like boom. And it came down. It's like, well, it could easily come down here, possibly overnight, but didn't happen. So it just stopped, which is a kind of amazing because there was little to no support and the way it came down so fast, but things just got real quiet. And then on the retest, it flipped right back up again. And now it's at the top of the range. And so in the first half hour of the day here, we're going to see, does this chop around? Does it break higher? I think by 10 o'clock, or a little bit between 10 and 10:30. If this isn't pushing above here, I think sellers would come in because it didn't get any higher. They're just tired of thinking it's going to go up, but we'll keep an eye on those interest rates as well. If this should close with a topping tail bar at the end of the day, 2 bars in a row, sideways consolidation on the hourly, I think we bet on downside for the beginning of September. We'll see where that goes. Right now, buyers are holding it up here. So some bullish price action at that resistance. Right. And Alex is reminding me that there is other news coming out at 10 o'clock, SMI. So that could be a driving factor. There's that's at 10 o'clock. At 9:45, S&P Global Manufacturing PMI final, and then SMI Manufacturing Employment, SMI Manufacturing New Orders. These are big numbers. SMI Manufacturing Prices, Construction Spending, month over month. So lots of stuff coming out at 10 o'clock. Keep in mind, it could create, of course, an acceleration in either direction or a whipsaw. And so basically going nowhere, trading range there. What's the reaction to the NASDAQ here? Same thing, a little peekaboo above these highs here, but it's up several days in a row. And would make sense for there to be some selling here, normal. We'll see what it ends. And of course, we talked about this earlier in the week, that this was pulling back to an area of support within an uptrend. This was threatening possibly lower, and the higher time frame so far won. And I wouldn't suspect that by the end of today, this bar is going to look any much more different. I think if they're selling, it may have a slight tail on the top, but I don't think it's going to do much. But you never know with this 10 o'clock number, things could get crazy. It could get bigger. Now, if it gets bigger, right, we always look at patterns, right? We're price pattern traders. This is a bit extended. It initially had a breakout failure. It's going to retest a breakout failure. So even if it goes up, let's say it goes up into this area over here. Think about what this pattern could become. Even if it goes up above the highs. I'm thinking September, but this could become an M top. We'll see as this plays out into September, but as we have these morning conversations, I just throw out a few thoughts as something to think about as we go into the next week or so, that could become an M top. It is something that plays out with this scenario of a pattern like that. All right. See what's over there to the left, give or take. So coming from down here up into this area, that pattern playing out based on this location has a pretty good probability. SPY, we'll get to SPX. So yesterday closed with a little topping tail bar. And I said the way things dropped at the end of the day, it looked like that would have follow through, down into this area. Now, yesterday we talked about the first reference point of support as a prior bar's low. So I'm going to lift that up there under the red bar's low. And you can see prices are now taking out the high of the red bar. And you've got an unfilled gap up here. Now, I'm just reiterating the news that's coming, but so we do have an area up in here to think about. In the bullish case, things are up here. To get up to this 456 area wouldn't be a big of a move. We got to keep an eye on that, or thought of that with SPX as to where we would want a strike to be above as far as a call strike. High of the day, around 453 and change, actually at the top of this bar right here, right around the top of this bar, as you can see the little crosshairs. Okay. So SPX, the gap fill, here's our gap fill, and that's the top strike just above the gap fill. So it's a good distance. Right? It's a good distance for where prices are now. Not great, not like the no-brainer that there was earlier in the week, which prices never even got anywhere near close to it. But it's at a good spot. There's good resistance there. Got this number at 10 o'clock. Something crazy could happen. So Friday, there's nothing wrong with taking off at 10 o'clock or what have you. We're not doing any spreads. Down below was 448. Considering where prices are, maybe that is the better choice today. Things are kind of in the middle here. Things are acting bullishly. So I think 44.85 is 75 by 80 cents. Things jiggle around. They probably won't go down before the number happens, as traders wait for the number to come out. And you could, there's still the whole day of time decay to go, zero DTE, of course. So I don't know how much it would deteriorate, but if there's an initial spike up, yeah, news coming out, nothing wrong with just saying, you know what, I'll let this pass. I don't want to deal with the unpredictability of a big news event coming. All right. We looked at interest rates, SPX, transports down. I don't know where this is going to be today, but as the things went down, it was, the transports going down, and we haven't wait till you see the Dow. It's like, it's really surprising that this market isn't lower this morning. That big red bar on there, look at this. And let's look at the diamonds. Where is that gapping to? UNH got killed yesterday. Oh, that's gapping past the midpoint of the red bar. So initially that's pretty, well, I don't know about positive, but it's the start of the right thing that we'll see where it closes. Again, it's gapping to resistance. Well, some resistance there, 350. And again, almost kind of, I'm a little surprised that it's gapping that far. So when we see a red bar like that, we want to see it close below the 50% area, give or take. So being up where it is here, a little bit above it, that's fine. It could go a little higher. So this rule of closing below, we want to see the candle body down here. So opening here, if it's there in the next 15 minutes, if at the end of the day it closes here, and if it closes with a tail on it, just think about the combination of bars, what we call bar by bar analysis, topping tail bar right there, gap wide range bearish bar. It gaps up. I don't know where it's going to go if it goes up, but if it closes weak, you got 3 bars forming that arrangement of bars in a downtrend at minor resistance. That communicates it's going to go down next week. If it closes green, it gaps up here and it closes green near the high of the day, it's not going to be an ideal continuation pattern, but this price action at resistance and then a green bar, we'd have to have a somewhat bullish bias that it could eat through this resistance there. And we'll just need to see where this market ends the day. Let me look at the Dow futures. I'm going to see. So there's no biggie here. Minor resistance came up and knocked it back down, and just chopping sideways there. coming up into resistance. Sellers are going to start showing up. There's your Russell 2000. Just got that trading range going on there. 50 MA, still below it. What's the dollar doing? Up a bit. Interesting. Interesting. So we've got the 10 and the 30-year flipping back up after going lower. The dollar's starting to go up. Those have not been positives for the market. The market is holding up here. So some, let's say, things out of alignment from what they have been, which creates some uncertainty about what do we do here. So we'll need to see what develops in that first half hour. Gold coming up to the top of the range. We need to see if it'll go sideways up there. And silver, you know, this is a continuous contract, so things must be changing here that it looks like this. But no interest in these kind of patterns. Interesting. Bitcoin. What a big up day. There was that news about whatever the ETF, and then I guess the reality of this downside collapse. I mean, when you think about it, if you were buying here, because this was communicating that people were buying and it collapses, and you hear that news, like, oh, maybe a reprieve. I'm gonna, that this thing's going to turn around and it'll turn into a winner. And then I guess more people decided, who the hell knows or cares? You're cutting back on this loss and just get the hell out and reassess. Sometimes that's the better choice. We went right back down again. So that's not a positive. And I'll take a look at this again. Yeah. So the markets are holding up relatively well. With these interest rates and the dollar coming back up again, and see the S&Ps are at resistance. I wouldn't get so enthusiastic about this initial positive reaction to this news. And I said the news is at 10 o'clock. So be careful. All yours, Dan.
Are you telling me to be careful?
Always be careful. Didn't your mother tell you to be careful?
Yeah. The happy 0DTE day. We were more cautious yesterday, tightening stops and so forth. Greg mentioned Bitcoin. We have put spread on the hood and my up alarm went off. Look at this thing. I said yesterday this would be a good 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's watch that on a pullback for directional target. $12, just an area, has room. Weekly buy setup. So that's about FI short. Sure, that's a sell setup. Absolutely. Sell setup with a 4-bar turn at the 20. Yeah, I like it. Going on the list. And talking about that, we have Nike on our list too. Another sell setup. I actually like FI better because this, when these are just reversing out in the middle of no man's land, there's no resistance here, and it's not near, converging MAs and so forth. They scare me a little more without having a retest, like an M top of some sort. Whereas this one is better. This is a better turn. So yeah, I like that a lot. And I will be looking for shorts now, and hopefully they're not going to trigger if they in the market stays strong till it peters out. Raul Cortia. Also, he's asking about a short. Now, see, this one I don't like nearly as much as Foxtrot India. We do what I call this A/B test all the time in the green room. We compare two setups, and this one's just further from the 50 This one, it could be, it is a sell setup, no question about it. We're just talking about quality. And this one could be setting up a double bottom on a pullback. And also, I just noticed the price. I don't mess around myself. It's not in my trading plan of shorting penny stocks. So it's, I just got no interest in doing that. It's not, black and white. It's not in my trading plan. All right, yeah, let's look at some earning trades here. Yeah, this one, I said I like it a lot if it gaps up just a little bit. 1690. Daily, weekly, monthly all look higher. It's gapping up and it's a buy setup. So absolutely, that's going on a long list. Yes, I like it a lot. Dell, wow, that's a big gap for Dell. Wow, that's blowing past the expected move. There's nothing to do with it though, but yeah, good for Dell shareholders. Avgo, it was up initially last night on earnings. Now 904. It's just a messy trading range. I don't know what to do with it. IoT. This one I was trying to sell puts and I did not get filled. So that's up a little bit. No pattern. It's up too much. I did 3 earnings trades. I only gave one. I gave one, this Papa Delta, which I'm going to have to, damage control. We have the 2250s, so it's still out of the money, but that's a big ugly gap. So I'll be looking to get out of that on a bounce. NTNX, I did a naked 27.5. So this one's working out fantastic. I really like the monthly on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's already gapping. I'm just bidding a nickel to get out of my puts. VMware down flat. It's 30-minute high, maybe a put spread, maybe a call spread, maybe both. MDB, kind of a sloppy W bottom, gapping up, put spread idea for 0 DTE. HCP, I sold the 25 put spread. It's gapping down, but with 97% certainty, I'm going to have a nice open gain at the open. Lulu was slopping all over the place last night. 393, big bullish gap. That's a watch on a pullback. ESTC. This was another one I tried to sell puts on, did not get filled. That one would have worked beautifully though. Wow, big old gap. Nothing to do now though with it. Saul. Hey Roger, when you hear Saul, I think of that show. You better call Saul, the attorney. Gapping down, no pattern. Hey, Cesar. Tilius, I think this is a little clothing store, gapping up a little bit, no pattern. DDL, downtrend, that's a power downtrend, no interest. All right, so that's it on earnings. So Alex, you have the best looking directional right there. On this is Sears, right? Yes, Sears. Hood alarm again. Wow, this thing is powering. So that's messing up my new entry, unfortunately. So let me just set a new alarm. But yeah, that's a second up alarm now. We might look to take profits on the strength here to avoid a week's worth of risk. All right, I'm just continuing here. So there's a oh, Algen, we're long this. I had an up alarm go off, say 375 print. So if it is opening up there, I'll be moving stuff under this bar and we'll look to, it has room 380 to 390. It's a nice pattern, but as I've been saying the last 2 days, I'm worried about the market oomph of them driving even bullish patterns like this higher. Airbnb, beautiful 1, 2, 3. Buy setup weekly. That's a gap breakout of 1, 2, 3. It looks great. I just wish the market weren't tired, and I would be all over this. Oh, Pavel, yeah, it's just Pavel's asking about this now. Yeah, it's a deep retracement, so you never expect a new high. It's a buy setup and reversal on the 20 and minor support. And the monthly is nothing. The monthly is a breakout failure 180 reversal. So Pavel, the monthly has zero influence on my daily 1, 2, 3 to trade for a 1 to 3 day bounce. I looked for a put spread yesterday and there was no juice. This thing's moving, but no pattern. Meds is having a big old rocking day. Wow. That's moving. Got nothing to do with meds, but that's a big old gap. I'm asking about Square. Yeah, that we actually bought calls on that yesterday. It's a 1, 2, 3. And I would wait till 10 a.m. if it's a new trade, but we're in it already. Just in management mode. This marijuana on Wednesday just started rocking and rolling, but we didn't get into any. 481. This is a bullish gap, but too big. WBA. There was some news here. I forget what the news was. I think part of the news the other day, I think I heard him, it was either this or CVS. They're going to lay off 5,000 workers now. Good low alarm. All right, let me tell my subscribers. Let's this thing's getting a little whippy for some reason. And let's move stuff. Wow, I got feeling something before. I heard the bell for the market open. So it has to be one of my 5-cent closing trades on an earnings thing. A PII up alarm. We have a put spread. All right, good. I just said move stop 30-minute low. A PII. We're in a put spread, but nothing to do now. I mean, I set alerts all the time and early just to give me the opportunity to reset alarms. So all I'm going to do is reset an alarm now. Up alarm 114.
I'm just looking at how way some of these stocks closed yesterday with this sell-off in the last 5 minutes. I wonder how maybe prices get driven up a bit, but people, had to get caught short getting run over here this morning. And just look at like DraftKings or even Nvidia. So many of them just sold off. Like some big sell program hit at the end of the day, and anyway.
Alex here, Sears rocking nice, bottom right. I said that was my favorite one. Good job. And you had a beautiful pre-market pattern. So that there was no question of all the earnings trades as a new trade. That was the best. Square up alarm. Looks good. All right, XOP. XOM's way too extended for me. I had Fang on my list yet. Fang I like better. It's rested. I'm getting a lot of